Hello everyone, today I'd like to do a short presentation on dyslexia. It's just a brief overview. Hopefully it'll help give you a brief understanding of the condition. Dyslexia is a specific learning difficulty that hinders the learning of literacy skills. Just a quick question for you, this slide now. Good English or bad English? The funny thing is it's very readable, but it's written phonically. By phonically I mean it's written as it sounds. The word dyslexia is derived from the Greek word dys, which means poor or inadequate, and lexis, which means word or language. If you're having difficulty reading the slide, what I'm trying to capture is some people with dyslexia sometimes see words moving on the page slightly or actually furring up. It's very similar to like when you're reading a book in bed late at night, your eyes are tired, you sometimes get the same feeling that a lot of dyslexic people actually feel. Dyslexia is not a disease, it has no cure. People with dyslexia are unique, each having individual strengths and weaknesses. Having problems reading this slide, yellow on a white background, not the best of choices, but it's difficult to read, isn't it? Especially the way the light and colour reflects on each other. A lot of people with dyslexia get the same feeling when they're reading black font on a white background. It's sometimes known as a condition of scotopic light sensitivity, and they get around this by using actual coloured acetate overlays, you may have seen them, that they put over what they're reading to change the shade and colour of the font, thus making it easier for them to read. It's a short presentation, so let's move along quick and look at the actual effects of dyslexia. Dyslexia can affect a person's writing and actual motor skills, such as poor quality handwriting, difficult to read, coordination problems, difficulty coping with books or book boards, just general motor skills that affect them in everyday learning. Obviously, dyslexia also affects reading. We need to read materials more than once. People with dyslexia sometimes lose their place when reading. They miss out lines and words, they misread words. The fact that your eyes are tracking from left to right when you're reading, it's very easy for someone with dyslexia to slip down accidentally onto another line, obviously thus making reading more difficult. Spelling, we talked about this earlier. They spell words differently sometimes. It could be phonically, as we saw before. Word retrieval can also be a problem, and similar words, homophones, can often be confused. For instance, bare naked or grizzly bear sound the same but both spelled differently. Understanding instructions can also be a difficulty. Complex instructions can be confusing. Sometimes words are not retained accurately in the short-term memory. There can be difficulty integrating new information into existing information, which is basically how we all learn, so you can understand the difficulties a dyslexic person faces. People with dyslexia also often struggle with personal organisation and concentration. Their organisational skills may be poor, could have a short concentration span, and students easily tire in lessons which are often literacy based, having a lot of reading and writing. Just think of when you're learning on a course, you have your portfolio or you have a file, just think how important it is to organise that file, which really can be a nightmare for some people with dyslexia. How do you feel today? Some phonetic spellings for you there, bottom of the class dunce, never amount to anything. These are often living with dyslexia. The fact that you've got this difficulty is not always seen and viewed by other people, and it can really affect a person's self-esteem. It can actually create a fear of literacy, and when you're in a classroom, literacy is one of the underpinning skills that that we need to embed in all learning. But remember, people with dyslexia also have certain strengths. Here's some famous ones: good achievers, Stephen Hawking, Albert Einstein, Dustin Hoffman, Tom Cruise. Just because someone's dyslexia, it's not a weakness. People with dyslexia often have strengths in other areas. A lot of architects, a lot of spatial awareness, craftsmen, engineers, people who are good with their hands. People with dyslexia tend to have strengths in these areas usually. I've only given you a brief overview of dyslexia, a bit of a snapshot really, but if you've got any questions, don't forget, come up to Inclusive Learning, email me, afielder@mysco.ac.uk, and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. Cheers, thanks for watching, bye.